You wake up, go about your routine, and believe you're doing everything right. But there's one silent mistake, a common, almost invisible habit that is blocking your natural testosterone after 60. And it is precisely because of it that your desire has decreased, your energy is lower, and the body no longer responds as before. In this revealing video, you'll discover why morning light is more important than any supplement, the habit that is shutting out your testosterone without you realizing it, how to breathe, eat, and sleep to rekindle your male potency, a simple 7-day protocol to restore your levels. Naturally, if you feel like your body is trying to say something, or that has lost the shine of those who were once stronger, more alive, more present, watch until the end. Because sometimes strength is not in what is missing, but in what needs to be reactivated. Subscribe to the channel for more content on male vitality, healthy sexuality, and real longevity. He always believed he was doing everything right. She walked every morning, took her medicines on time, kept her exams up to date, and had even reduced the salt and sugar on her plate. At 68, I felt that I was aging with dignity. But there was something he couldn't ignore, a feeling of constant tiredness, a subtle drop in desire, a kind of silence in his own body. He tried to convince himself that it was just time at work, but the truth was that there was something deeper there, an invisible blockage that was directly affecting his natural testosterone production. The mistake? So common, so silent, that thousands of men commit it daily without realizing it. Testosterone is the hormone that symbolizes male vitality, not only for sexual desire, but for the strength of the muscles, mental clarity, good humor, and even the quality of sleep. It is produced in smaller quantities as man ages. This is natural. But the problem is not the gradual decline. The real danger lies in the habits that accelerate this fall, sabotaging the body from the inside without giving immediate signs. What many ignore is that, after 60, the body becomes more sensitive to certain routines. Small behaviors that previously went unnoticed become triggers for hormonal dysregulation. And the most impactful of all is this: lack of exposure to natural light right after waking up. Yes, it sounds simple, but it is devastating. Sunlight in the morning is one of the most powerful stimuli for the hypothalamic pituitary gonadal axis, the system that commands testosterone production in humans. When you wake up and stay indoors, with artificial lighting and little natural visual stimulation, your brain interprets that it is not yet time to activate full hormonal functioning. It is as if the biological clock remained in standby mode, delaying the entire production cycle that should be in full activity. And as the days go by, this accumulates. Testosterone production drops even further, the mood decreases, sexual appetite cools down, and the motivation dissolves without apparent cause. And there's more. The mature man's body needs the correct synchronization between biological rhythms and environmental signals. Morning light activates not only hormone production, but also regulates morning cortisol, improves the next night's sleep, and balances mood. When this cycle is interrupted, testosterone suffers. And the most alarming, not even supplements, medications, or hormonal therapies will work if the body is misaligned with the natural time of the day. Recent studies published in international medical journals confirm men over the age of 60 who are exposed to direct sunlight for at least 20 minutes between 7 and 9 in the morning have significantly higher testosterone levels than those who do not have this habit. And the difference is not small. It can exceed 30% in some clinical analyses, an impact greater than many conventional treatments can achieve. But the mistake goes beyond the light. The second silent habit that blocks testosterone is more common than you might think, spending long periods of time sitting without breaks. A prolonged sedentary lifestyle, especially in front of the television, on comfortable sofas or chairs, slows down circulation, alters metabolism, and reduces the release of anabolic hormones. And even those who exercise once a day are not exempt from this. If the rest of the time is spent inactively, the damage still happens. The human body needs constant movement, even if it is in small doses. The ideal is to get up every 40 minutes, walk for 2 to 5 minutes, and activate the muscles with light movements. Not only does this stimulate blood flow to the testicles, where testosterone is produced, but it also activates genes related to vitality, memory, and longevity. But there is a third, more subtle villain: a habit of mind, excessive rumination on the past. Older men, especially those who have faced loss, recent retirement, or family changes, tend to spend a lot of time in cycles of negative thinking. This activates regions of the brain associated with chronic stress and reduces the action of the hypothalamus, which commands the entire hormonal response. Quiet sadness and constant thoughts of what could have been are often more harmful to testosterone than a poor diet. The tired mind sends danger signals to the body. And the body, in turn, responds by shutting down functions considered non-priority, such as hormone production. Testosterone, in this context, becomes the first victim of unspoken suffering. Therefore, the true recovery of natural testosterone requires reconnection with the body, with time and with the present. It all starts with a new morning ritual. Open the curtains when you wake up, go out for at least 20 minutes to walk in the natural light, breathe deeply, move your body. It is not a magic formula, it is respected biology. The body understands signals, and he responds to them. When you give the brain the information that the day has begun, it returns it with energy, with clarity, with the desire to live. That's what testosterone represents, the desire to live. And the silent mistake that blocks this desire may be in the details of everyday life, but so is the correction. He began to notice the difference in less than a week. As I opened the windows early in the morning and walked in the morning sun, I felt something in my body respond, as if the gears were moving again after years of silence. But the real transformation began when he understood that testosterone doesn't just depend on light, movement, and thoughts. It is also shaped by what goes into the dish. And at that point, most mature men are sabotaging themselves without knowing it. Eating after 60 can be the greatest ally or the greatest enemy of hormone production. And what many are unaware of is that there are foods that directly silence the male hormonal axis, continuously inhibiting testosterone, even when the rest of the routine is adjusted. The first of them seems harmless, even healthy, the excess of soy and its industrialized derivatives. We are not talking about natural soy, consumed in a balanced way, but ultra-processed products, such as sweetened soy drinks, processed vegetable proteins, energy bars with isoflavones in high concentration. These foods, when eaten in large quantities, carry compounds called phytoestrogens, which mimic female estrogen in the male body. In small doses, they don't cause major problems. But with daily and continuous consumption, they begin to interfere with hormone receptors, confusing the system and progressively reducing testosterone production. The second saboteur is trans fat, present in margarines, filled cookies, snacks, and various industrialized products. This fat, in addition to inflaming the body, causes insulin resistance, and this directly interferes with testosterone levels. Chronic inflammation is one of the most powerful enemies of male vitality, as it creates a toxic environment that prevents full hormonal action. Men who consume trans fat frequently have, on average, 20% less free testosterone than those who eat an anti-inflammatory diet. And the third villain? The nocturnal alcohol. Many men, at the end of the day, cultivate the habit of a glass of wine, a beer, or spirit before bed. The idea is to relax. But what seems like a simple ritual of rest may be quietly sabotaging hormone production. Alcohol reduces levels of zinc, a mineral essential for testosterone synthesis, and interferes with the quality of deep sleep. And without deep sleep, there's no adequate hormone production. Testosterone is manufactured while the body rests. If sleep is interrupted, fragmented, or too short, the result is a vicious cycle of tiredness, hormonal decline, and loss of desire. But there is good news. Food can also be used as a tool to naturally stimulate testosterone. And it all starts with 3 essential food groups. First, foods rich in good fats, such as avocados, pumpkin seeds, walnuts, extra virgin olive oil, and coconut oil. These sources of fat help in the formation of the structural basis of testosterone, as the hormone is derived from cholesterol. Yes, cholesterol plays an important role, as long as it comes from the right sources. Second, foods rich in zinc and magnesium, 2 minerals that act directly in the production and release of testosterone. Oysters, chestnuts, spinach, sunflower seeds, and eggs are powerful allies. The combination of these nutrients improves hormonal bioavailability and enhances the effects of testosterone already present in the body. And third, foods that regulate blood sugar, because glucose spikes reduce hormone production. This includes low glycemic vegetables such as broccoli, cauliflower, carrots, cucumbers, and lettuce. Not only do they balance sugar levels, but they also contribute to the full functioning of the hormone glands. But the body doesn't just respond to what you eat, it also reacts to the way you breathe. Breathing is more than oxygen, it is information. When you breathe short, anxiously, and shallowly, you send the brain the signal that you're alert. And the body, by interpreting this state, reduces functions not essential to survival, such as the production of testosterone. But when the breath becomes deep, slow, rhythmic, the body activates the parasympathetic system. This is the state of desire, of restoration, of hormonal recovery. Men who breathe properly with the diaphragm expanded naturally activate the male hormonal axis. The most recommended technique is 3-time breathing. Inhale for 4 seconds, hold for 4 seconds, exhale for 4 seconds. Repeat for 5 to 10 minutes when you wake up and before going to sleep. This simple habit improves oxygenation, reduces cortisol, and favors the release of free testosterone. This is not a miracle. It's about giving the body the right signals. Testosterone does not respond to promises. It responds to environments. Daylight, the right food, to the movement, to deep breathing, to the royal rest. He was no longer the same man, not on the outside, but on the inside. I was beginning to notice something different in the eyes in the mirror, a discreet vitality, almost whispered, but present. The desire, which had previously seemed to have retreated to a silent corner of the soul, began to return. But it was in the third discovery that everything made sense. Sleep. Few men understand that sleep is the most sacred moment of hormone production. It is during the first few hours of deep sleep, especially between midnight and 4 in the morning, that testosterone is manufactured in greater quantity. But when this sleep is interrupted, whether by frequent trips to the bathroom, apnea, anxiety, or use of screens until late, production plummets. The body does not produce testosterone while it is dealing with alerts. And the most impressive thing, it is not enough to sleep for many hours. You need to sleep well. Studies show that men who sleep poorly for just 1 week have up to 40% reduction in testosterone levels. This is because the body interprets sleep deprivation as a state of survival, and in this condition, it prioritizes other functions, leaving hormone production in the background. The key is sleep hygiene, and it starts 2 hours before bedtime. Avoid blue screens, reduce artificial lights, maintain a dark and quiet environment. Eat early and light. Breathe deeply for a few minutes before going to bed, keeping fixed times to wake up and go to sleep, even on weekends. These are details that reprogram the biological clock and reconnect the body to its most masculine function, restoring itself from within. But there was one more obstacle he didn't want to face, something that seemed invisible, but was profoundly real: the shame of talking about it. Many men of his generation grew up hearing that one should not talk about weakness, that the body should hold firm, that desire is a young thing, and that accepting apathy is a sign of wisdom. But this culture of silence, rigid pride, and false self-sufficiency has created generations of silent, weakened, resigned men. When, in fact, there is strength in those who recognize that they need to take care of themselves. He understood that sexual health is not vanity. It is a sign that the body is still alive, and to desire, to feel pleasure, to have energy. It's biological, it's healthy, it's human. Testosterone is not a luxury. It is a tool of life, and it doesn't matter the age. It can be stimulated, recovered, and maintained naturally. With respect to one's own rhythm, no need for synthetic hormones as long as the right habits are resumed. It was then that he adjusted the last blind spot, the emotional posture. Science has already shown that the emotional state directly affects hormone production. Chronic negative emotions, such as unresolved anger, resentment, a sense of worthlessness, or abandonment, alter body chemistry. In particular, the release of cortisol, the stress hormone. And high cortisol inhibits testosterone. The body enters a state of defense, saves energy, and silences the functions that it does not deem essential. Therefore, emotional reconnection is an invisible pillar of virility. Converse, participate, have projects, take care of something, be necessary. The feeling of worthlessness is one of the greatest hormonal poisons of old age, but the feeling of purpose, it is a true natural anabolic. And these are not great achievements. Sometimes we take care of a vegetable garden, read it again, teach something you have learned, reconnect an old tie. Science has already proven it. The feeling of social usefulness activates brain regions that increase dopamine and testosterone levels. The man who feels he can still offer something, even if it is a word or a gesture, keeps the force alive within him. Vitality, after 60, does not come from the past, it comes from now. The way you position yourself in the world, of what you decide to do with the body you have, with the age you have, with the time you have left. And that's where everything connects. The morning light, the clean plate, slow breathing, deep sleep, the silence that turns into speech, and the choice to, even at 60 or 70, still get up with a will. Because testosterone responds to life, and life responds to movement. 7 days, that was the time he needed to feel that the body was back. Not to what I was at 20 nor at 30, but to something even more valuable, a state of presence, potency, and clarity. What changed was not only the level of testosterone, but the way it started to inhabit the body itself. And it all started with a simple protocol. No miracle pills, no expensive treatments, just choices, made consciously at the right time. Day 1, light and movement upon waking. In the first 20 minutes of the day, leave the house, walk, or just stay exposed to natural light, without sunglasses, without distractions. This sends the brain the signal that the day has begun. And with that, it activates the hypothalamus, responsible for initiating testosterone production. If you can walk, the better. If you can walk in silence, even better. The body needs rhythm, and the rhythm starts with the light. Day 2, breathing and stretching at dusk. At the end of the day, especially between 5 and 7 in the afternoon, Activate the body with light stretches and 3-beat breathing. This is the time when cortisol usually rises because of the accumulation of tensions. Deep breathing breaks this cycle and prepares the body for sleep. Less stress, more testosterone. Day 3, light and early dinner. Avoid heavy or processed foods after 18 hours. The lighter the digestion at night, the deeper the sleep. And the better the sleep, the greater the hormonal release. Testosterone is not produced on a full stomach. It flourishes in the resting body. Light soups, cooked vegetables, easily digestible proteins. Eat slowly, in silence, if possible. Day 4, eliminate the invisible saboteur. On this day, review the routine and identify the habit that sucks your energy the most. It can be alcohol every night, excessive screens until late, long periods of sitting without a break, or even an emotional relationship that exhausts you. Identify, write, and start moving away. A small cut generates a large internal release. Day 5, feed the body with real testosterone. Add foods rich in zinc, magnesium, good fats, and clean protein to breakfast or lunch. Whole eggs, avocado, pumpkin seeds, fatty fish, green vegetables. It doesn't have to be radical. It needs to be consistent. Testosterone responds to what you eat, and especially to what you don't eat. Day 6, emotional reconnection. On this day, do something that gives you back the feeling of purpose. Calling someone you haven't spoken to in a while, share a story, teach something, start a simple project. Put your hands in the dirt, or just to thank with conscience for the body you have, for the mind that thinks, for the heart that still beats. Testosterone is also a sense of continuity. The man who feels useful remains powerful. Day 7, sacred sleep. Sleep as if you were healing the body with your own rest. Ritualize the night. Turn everything off an hour before. Read something light. Breathe. Close your eyes with the certainty that there in the dark, the body is doing its greatest work, regenerating. Men who sleep well produce up to 2 to 3 times more testosterone than those with fragmented sleep. It's simple, and it is essential. At the end of these 7 days, something changes. It is not a miracle. It's the body saying thank you. It is the hormonal system returning to trust the environment. It is the masculine power rearranging itself, silently, from within. Most men over 60 who apply this protocol with discipline report more disposition, greater mental clarity, increased sexual desire, and even improved posture. Because the body, by recovering its natural chemistry, also recovers its presence in the world. The gaze becomes firmer, the gesture more intentional, silence more full of meaning. And this is not vanity, it is dignity. You don't have to accept apathy as part of aging. You don't have to be silent in the face of the loss of desire, the loss of strength, the loss of self. Testosterone is a language of the body, and she responds to care. As of now, you know where the silent error was. You know how he started. And more importantly, it knows how to fix it, be it by the morning light, by the clean plate, by breathing, for the silence respected, for restorative sleep, or by the courage to want more from life. Your body is still listening. And testosterone can still respond. All you have to do is start, with one step, one day, one decision, because it is not age that defines its potency. That's what you do with it.